Hello again, friends. Welcome to Gamecock Central Radio, talking men's basketball today with Gamecock great Joe Rhett. I'm Emerson Phillips. South Carolina, a convincing winner over Auburn Tuesday night at the Colonial Life Arena. The Gamecocks hammered Auburn 98-69, and South Carolina ranked number 23 in the country in the AP poll, 16-4 overall, 6-1 in the SEC, and the Gamecocks trail Kentucky by just half a game in the standings right now. So the Gamecocks bounced back from that loss to Kentucky last weekend and really hammered Auburn, Joe. The Gamecocks couldn't have played much better. They shot the lights out.
Well, coming to this week, they answered one of the questions that I had, and that is one, how would they bounce back against Kentucky after, tough loss down there in Kentucky? They did. They responded. Good to see my man Duane Notice have a good shooting night, having a career high also the other night. And when he gets it going, man, this is a really, really good team. Takes a little bit of pressure off Sanders, take pressure off PJ. He's coming back laboring a little bit from his back injury, but you saw that he lost a little bit of his explosion and jumping ability and movement. I don't know if it's mental or just physical right now, but I think PJ needs to be out there just to get back into the flow and get his confidence back. But again, Notice shot the ball well, and you can see the difference in it. He opens up so many different things when he's shooting the ball well. Look like he had that confidence back. So right now, I hope that he can continue playing with the Grizz. He's going to get 27 every night. No, but if he can continue to get 12 to 15 points, this is a different Gamecock basketball team.
Gamecocks jumped out to a 9-0 lead against Auburn Tuesday night. South Carolina hit 10 of 16 threes in the first half, and the Gamecocks led 48-27 at halftime. And it was the three Gamecock seniors, Thornwell, Notice, and Mackey, combining for 62 points and 14 threes in this ball game. And Duane Notice tied a career high with 27 points on 6 of 9 shooting from 3. And, Joe, over the previous 4 games, Notice had combined to score 22 points. He dropped 27 on Auburn Tuesday night, and it really seems to me that this South Carolina team is going to be as good offensively as Duane Notice allows them to be. He's been inconsistent at times this year, but when he shoots the ball well, he's extremely effective. Frank Martin has said that he is wired to score, and he filled it up Tuesday night.
He's definitely wired to score, and I think one of the guys that really has the green light on that team is Duane Notice. And when he's open, Frank wants this guy to shoot the ball. And you just see what he does to this team, along with Chris Silva. Those guys just make a big difference when they're clicking. And we haven't seen yet that all three of the guards clicking at the same time. I'm waiting to see PJ, Sanders, and Duane Notice shoot the ball well. And when those three get going at the same time and be more consistent, this will be a dangerous team, and it's good to see this team playing well. Whenever one is down, somebody else keeps stepping up, and I like that in this team. You see the maturation of this team just growing up, handling business every game, and it's just fun to watch these guys play right now.
Auburn's playing a lot of freshmen, and they're struggling a little bit this year, but the Gamecocks really gave us a glimpse of how good this team can be. They really poured it on Auburn on Tuesday night. So, Joe, it was Notice tying a career high with 27. He set that career high earlier this year against Florida International. Zendarius Thornwell had 22 points and 8 rebounds. He shot 5 of 7 from 3. And Justin Mackey had 13 points, 4 assists, and 3 three-pointers. Also for the Gamecocks, 16 points for Chris Silva, 8 points and 8 boards for Mike Kotsar. So Gamecock defense playing well again. Joe, South Carolina getting up just under 61 points a game in conference play, and that's best in the SEC. So the defense was good Tuesday night, and the offense was on fire as well, and that led to a Carolina blowout win over Auburn.
Well, coming into the season, I was questioning what is the identity of this team. And if you talk about the identity of any Frank Martin team, it's defense. And once the defense is going, it's going to be hard for anybody to come in, especially in the CLA, to come in and score a lot of baskets. And on top of that, with the defense playing the way it is and the offense clicking, this is a very, very good ball club. So give shout out to those guys for shooting the ball well, so hopefully they can continue throughout the rest of the season.
Gamecock Central Radio, Emerson Phillips with Joe Rhett. We invite you to download the Gamecock Central Radio app. We've got this free phone app that allows you to listen to our podcast anywhere you receive cell phone service. You can listen on your phone. The app is free. It's on the App Store and on Google Play. To subscribe to our podcast, search for Gamecock Central Radio. You'll find us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and other popular services, or visit radio.GamecockCentral.com. A long road trip to Missouri for an 8:30 tip tomorrow night. That game will be on the SEC Network, and Missouri is really struggling right now. Joe, they have lost 11 straight ball games coming in. They actually played a really good first half in their midweek game this week at Mississippi State. They led the entire first half, but Mississippi State heated up from 3 in the second half and wound up taking care of Missouri by a final of 89-75. So Mizzou has lost 11 in a row. Joe, they've lost 27 straight road games in SEC play, but they will be at home tomorrow night for this 8:30 tip. And I thought it was interesting, Joe, the Gamecocks lost to Kentucky last year and then kind of had a hangover going into the next game, and they lost at Missouri last year. So Frank Martin talked about that going into the Auburn game Tuesday night. He said, look, we lost to Kentucky last year, and there was a hangover after that game. We didn't play well. Let's go ahead and flush the Kentucky loss and turn our attention to Auburn. And the Gamecocks played their best game of the season coming off the loss to Kentucky. So Missouri is a train wreck, Joe. There's no two ways about it, but they did play well. They shot 61% in the first half earlier this week against Mississippi State, and they can't be taken lightly.
Well, this is the second question that I want this Gamecock team to answer for me, and that is, like I said earlier, one was responding after the Kentucky game, and they did that by beating Auburn. So now I want to see how this team responds going on the road. Not to take for granted that this team is struggling. No doubt this Missouri team is struggling, but you got a team that's, it's an SEC team. It's still a basketball team that can beat anybody at any given time. And you got a ranked team as the University of South Carolina at number 23 right now, coming on a long, like you said, a very, very long road trip to Missouri. And that crowd probably be jumping. They'll be excited because, like I said, another ranked team coming in there. And they don't want to do nothing more than be spoilers to this Gamecock team. And I think if we handle our business, we should be able to win. But, a lot of times people wonder why is it so hard to win on the road? My thing is, a lot of times, when you got teams like that, a lot of road players don't go on the road. I mean, they go on the road, but they're not ready to go on the road and play in that different atmosphere. You got a lot of guys that play well at home. That's where the seniors come in. That's where your leaders come in, and Darius and PJ and those. Hopefully those guys are maintained and get this team started off to a good start on tomorrow and not take this team for granted. Like I said, it's a ranked team coming in their home. Anything can happen, but we need to handle our business tomorrow, because if we lose tomorrow, that would be it would hurt us, yes. And it would be a bad loss. So if we play the way we're capable of playing, I don't see us having a problem.
Missouri led by as many as 9 in the first half against Mississippi State earlier this week, but they shot 32% in the second half, including 0 for 9 from 3, and they went on to lose by 14 at Mississippi State. For the Tigers, Jordan Barnett and Jordan Geist scored 18 points apiece. Missouri's 5-14 overall, and they are 0-7 in the SEC. They are bringing up the rear in the Southeastern Conference. They are in the cellar with that 0-7 conference record, and they've lost 11 straight going into tomorrow night's game against the South Carolina Gamecocks. So, long road trip, Joe. What type of bearing could that have on the game? When you go to Knoxville or Athens or even, Gainesville, these aren't bad road trips, but when you're talking about a trip to Missouri, that's a much different story.
Yeah, it's a different story. You have to lean on towards your senior, lean on the guys that's been there before, especially for the young guys. You take such a long trip like that, and it is, I believe it's a late game as well. You probably have a shoot around early that morning, or sometime, close to around lunchtime. Then the toughest part is just sitting around waiting that day and waiting on the 8:30 game. It's not a whole lot you can do. You try to get your rest, you try to get your right nutrition, and you try to make sure that your body's ready for that late game after taking a long, long road trip. But it's just about adjusting your body, and sitting around waiting is the hardest thing to do, and trying to keep your mind focused on the task and on the task at hand and the game plan that you got to execute and to do what you need to do to win the game.
Yeah, late tip tomorrow night, 8:30 Eastern time at Missouri for the Gamecocks, and South Carolina will also have a late tip next week, Wednesday night game at LSU. That game will tip at 9 o'clock before the Gamecocks return home to host the Georgia Bulldogs next Saturday. So it's LSU on the road, Georgia at home next week, and Joe and I will come back and talk about those two games with you next week, and we'll also have a recap of this Missouri game next week here on Gamecock Central Radio. Joe, thanks for the update.
Hey, no problem, buddy. Have a good one.
All right, that's my man Joe Rhett, Gamecock Great, and I'm Emerson Phillips. We'll come back here on Gamecock Central Radio and talk more Gamecock men's basketball. Thanks for being with us. Have a great weekend.